Hi, boys and girls. We're going to continue with Kidnap King. They kind of left us really wondering what was going to happen yesterday. But first, let's review our I sounds. Remember, short I, grip, bring, lip. Then our three ways to make the long I sound. I consonant E, drive, price, bite. IGH, fright, light, might. I consonant, mild, wild, child. All right, let's look at our vocabulary words. Okay, so we had kidnapping, which means to take somebody against their will. It is a crime. Investigate, how you look to solve. You're looking for clues. You want to figure out what happened. Resolution, the ending, the way it's solved, the way it's answered. It's all figured out. Here's the new word, twist. A twist is something the author sometimes does with the plot to make the story even more interesting. A twist means they throw us a curveball. They show us something that we completely weren't expecting, okay? For instance, this COVID stuff has thrown a little bit of a twist on our school year because we were all not expecting to be back at home, but that's where we are. So, twist, something unexpected that happens. And again, it's a tool that an author uses to make a book even more interesting. All right, we're going to continue with The Kidnapped King by Ron Roy. Chapter 9. Maybe Sammy thinks Joan knows who the kidnappers are, Ruth Rose said. Maybe, Dink said. Or maybe Joan is the kidnapper. Josh and Ruth Rose looked up from their jello. Josh had Cool Whip on his nose. His tutor, he asked. Think about it, Dink went on. Sammy wakes up in the middle of the night. Someone's in his room. He recognizes Joan and grabs a pile of glass, yellow glass, because he remembers how much her name sounds like the French word for yellow, and he knows that I know that. But how could she be the kidnapper, Ruth Rose asked. She's Sammy's friend. She came here to help him. Yeah, and you saw how upset she was this morning, Josh said. That couldn't be an act. I still think Sammy just grabbed the first pile of glass his hand landed on in the dark. Ruth Rose stood up. There's one way to find out, she said. Let's go to the hotel and talk to her. Okay, Dink said, but she's not at the hotel. My mom said she was meeting Joan at the diner. Good, Josh said, gulping down the last of his jello. I can get an ice cream while we talk. Josh is always hungry. The kids took Pal and hurried to Ellie's Diner on Main Street. Dink glanced through the window, but he didn't see Joan Clinker or his mom. I wonder where they are. Mom's car isn't here either, Dink said, looking up and down Main Street. Let's ask Ellie, Ruth Rose suggested. Josh pushed the door open and the kids stepped inside. Two teenagers were eating scrambled eggs, but no one else sat in the booths or at the counter. Hey there, kids, Ellie said. Hi, cute Poochie. She bent down and patted Pal, then stroked his ears. Shall I scoop up 3 cones, she asked. Dink shook his head. No thanks, I'm looking for my mom, he said. Have you seen her? She was supposed to meet someone here a little while ago. Ellie shook her head. Nope, I haven't seen your mother in a few days, she said. Maybe they're at the hotel, Ruth Rose said. Dink nodded. I guess it's worth a try, he said. They thanked Ellie and headed for the Shangri-La Hotel, 2 blocks up Main Street. Why couldn't we at least get cones to go, Josh asked. He placed one hand dramatically across his forehead. I think I feel faint. Later, Dink said, after we find Sammy, and after we find my mom, he thought. 3 minutes later, they walked into the hotel. Mr. Linkletter was sitting on one of the lobby chairs, eating a donut and sipping coffee. Well, hello there, he said, when the trio approached him. Trio, that means 3, okay? He glanced at Pal. Joshua, I assume your dog is, house trained? Josh grinned as Pal flopped down at Mr. Linkletter's feet. Yep, and he's hotel trained too. Mr. Linkletter's twitched an eyebrow. Well then, he said, how can I be of service today? I'm looking for my mom, Dink said. She was supposed to meet Joan Clinker at Ellie's, and they're not there. Have you seen them? Mr. Linkletter set his coffee down. I didn't see your mom, but Mrs. Clinker left the hotel a short while ago. Did she say where she was going? Mr. Linkletter shook his head. Not a word. Dink glanced around the hotel lobby. Where could his mother be? She always let him know if she had to change her plans. Always. She didn't leave a note or anything? I'm sorry, Donald, Mr. Linkletter said. Perhaps she's gone back home. Would you like to call her? Suddenly, Dink felt sick. He blinked back to her. Something was wrong. First, Sammy disappeared, and now his mother was gone, and she'd been on her way to see Joan Clinker with the yellow glass. Mr. Linkletter wiped his fingers on his napkin and stood up. Come on, you can use my phone, he said. He took Dink over to the counter. Pal followed Mr. Linkletter, sniffing at his heels. All right, I think this is important. We know that Pal has found clues before. We know that he sniffs to find them, so we know that he is sniffing Mr. Linkletter's shoes. I think what's about to happen is going to be important. Dink dialed and listened for his mother's voice on the other end, but no one answered. He set the phone down and looked up at Mr. Linkletter. Where could she be? He asked. All right, and that's the end of our chapter here. Okay, so why does Dink think that Joan could be the kidnapper? Well, she has easy access to Sammy. She knows everything about him. And he thinks that Sammy was trying to tell him that. But now his friends, they don't agree because she's his tutor. She's like his teacher, and a teacher is somebody you trust, right? So if it turns out to be Joan, it would definitely be quite a twist that the author is using. So we'll see. Why do the kids go to the diner? Well, they want to talk to Joan because Josh and Ruth Rose think that she might know who the kidnapper is. So why do they go to the hotel? Well, they go to the hotel because Joan and Dink's mom weren't in the diner like they were supposed to be. Why is Mr. Linkletter worried about Pal? Well, he's the manager of the hotel, and obviously he doesn't want the dog to have an accident in his hotel because that would be gross and make his guests be all like, ew, yuck. So he's worried that the dog needs to mind his manners inside. And now we know that Dink is really, really worried. And so we'll tune in tomorrow to find out if Dink is right to be worried. Thanks for listening.